in nationalism and in not recognizing the talents of women and non-white gentlemen, and that's the wrong direction.
I don't know what you're insinuating, Senator, but I am not ashamed of my faith in Jesus Christ.
Well,
no,
you shouldn't be
and
ashamed.
if you want to shame me for it, go ahead.
I'm not shaming you, but are you critical of other faiths?
Welcome back to Freedom Forge. If you're new here, hit that like button and subscribe because we break down what's really happening in Washington without the spin, without the media filters, and without the political games. Today, we're reacting to a Senate hearing that centers on military leadership, national security strategy, and controversial decisions inside the Department of Defense. The discussion covers the firing of a top Army general, questions about merit versus identity in leadership decisions, and a heated debate over military operations in Iran and whether key objectives have actually been achieved.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, you recently fired the Army Chief of Staff, General Randy George, who's one of the most distinguished and decorated officers of his generation. General George's nomination came before us. We reviewed it thoroughly, and we concurred. Why did you fire General George?
Well, as I did then, and I'll say now, we thank General George for his service. And out of respect to him and other officers, we never talk about the nature of why certain officers are asked to step down. But we all serve at the pleasure of the president. And ultimately, my view in coming into this department, as I stated in my confirmation hearing, was to change the culture of the department. And it's ultimately challenging to change the department, the culture of a department with the same people who are a part of or in that department. So I have made many changes with general officers. We will continue to make changes as necessary with general officers, and they will be in keeping with the trajectory of where we would like to take the department. But it doesn't take away from the service of those. And I think you will note that every officer that's been asked to leave has been treated with respect.
Interesting. Of the 24 officers that you have fired for reasons unrelated to performance, since you have not indicated any cause, 60% are black or females. Now, did the president direct you to single out female and black officers to be dismissed?
Senator, of course not. And as we've emphasized at this department from the beginning, the only metric is merit. Members on this committee and the previous leadership of this department were focused on social engineering, race and gender in ways that we think were unhealthy for the department, focusing on those things, making decisions based on those things. Okay. In President Trump's War Department, we make decisions based on only one thing, merit. And that's how we've made decisions going forward. That's how we've made them, and that's how we'll make them going forward.
Well, let me go back to General George. What did he fail in terms of his lack of merit to continue serving?
As I said, I don't talk about the nature of dismissal out of respect for these officers. But ultimately, we want to take the department in a particular direction, certain services in a particular direction, and we want leadership that's running as fast in that direction as possible. And in some cases, we make changes accordingly, but do so out of respect to those officers.
Well, I think that direction from your behavior is an intense interest in Christianity, in nationalism, and in not recognizing the talents of women and non-white gentlemen, and that's the wrong direction.
I don't know what you're insinuating, Senator, but I am not ashamed of my faith in Jesus Christ.
Well, you shouldn't be ashamed.
And if you want to shame me for it, go ahead.
I'm not shaming you, but are you critical of other faiths?
I am a believer. I'm quite open in that, and our department allows for a multitude of faiths. So I don't know what you're suggesting. I've heard the likes of things that people like you suggest to try to smear my character, and I won't give into it.
No. I'm sorry, Mr. Secretary, but broadcasting before the national religious broadcasters stressing the need for more Christianity in the military forces doesn't seem like a neutral position in which you tolerate and accept all religions. Let me move on. The strategic aspects of this operation in Iran. The president declared that we're going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. And after more than 13,000 strikes, unclassified assessments conclude that Iran retains more than 40% of its drone arsenal and 60% of its ballistic missile launches compared with pre-war levels. That's one of his objectives. The second objective was regime change. To the great proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand, and we will take over your government. Well, when we finish, we'll take over government. That has not succeeded. And then one of his other things is at the onset of the war, the president said, we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. Military operations in Iran have not achieved that goal yet. And it also seems to indicate that his pronouncements about Operation Midnight Hammer, obliterating the nuclear policy and structure of the Iranians, was false. So you have not achieved any of the objectives yet that the president mentioned.
Well, in this setting, I won't talk about the nature of metrics, which are classified, as you know, Senator, but I can say that looking at the objectives we set out to achieve from the beginning, some of which you laid out, our military objectives have been stunningly effective. Take, for example, their defense industrial base. They're completely incapable at scale at any level of reconstituting the capabilities you referred to, which is a devastating result for any country, especially one whose ambitions are as wide as Iran's. So we've put the president in a very strong position to ensure Iran never gets a nuclear weapon. That's the takeaway that's been underneath every single aspect of this. For 47 years, Iran's trying to blackmail its way to a nuclear weapon. They were closer than ever before because of bad deals under previous administration. President Trump was willing to do something about it and not allow their conventional missile shield. That's the North Korea strategy. That's, to be clear, what Iran was pursuing. Hiding their nuclear ambitions, revealing them over time, and then building a conventional shield of missiles so powerful that no country would challenge them for fear of what would happen if they unleashed that arsenal. Weakened after the 12-day war in Midnight Hammer, which did obliterate their sites, President Trump saw an opportunity because their ambitions continued to ensure that umbrella of nuclear blackmail did not allow them to get to a nuclear weapon. And the world is safer because of his bold and historic choice.
Mr. Secretary, I think that's rhetorical but not factual. Thank you.
And let me say this right from the start. This is one of those hearings that exposes just how deep the divide is when it comes to how our military should be run and what standards should guide leadership. The hearing opens with questions about the dismissal of General Randy George, a highly respected and decorated officer. Now, regardless of where you stand politically, when someone of that caliber is removed, people are going to ask questions. And the response we hear is one we've heard many times before: respect for service, but no specific explanation. And here's where things start to get interesting. The justification given is about changing the culture of the department. That's a powerful phrase. Culture change can mean a lot of things. It can mean refocusing priorities, shifting leadership philosophy, or moving away from what some see as distractions from core military readiness. From a right-leaning perspective, this idea of refocusing on merit is something a lot of people support. The argument being made is simple. The military should prioritize effectiveness, readiness, and capability above all else. Not politics, not social agendas, not identity-based decision-making. Now, critics in the hearing push back hard. They raise concerns about whether certain groups, women, and minority officers are being disproportionately affected by these leadership changes. That's a serious accusation, and it deserves scrutiny. But the response from leadership is equally clear. Decisions are being made based on merit, not race or gender. And this is where the ideological clash really shows. On one side, there's concern about representation and fairness across different groups. On the other side, there's a push to strip all of that away and focus purely on performance and mission success. From a constitutional and military standpoint, the argument for merit-based leadership is straightforward. The military exists to defend the nation. It's not a social experiment. It's not a place for political agendas. It's an institution where the stakes are life and death, and decisions need to be based on capability above everything else. Then the hearing shifts into something even more heated: faith and personal beliefs. The questioning touches on statements about Christianity and whether those beliefs influence leadership decisions. And the response is direct. There's no apology for personal faith. Now, here's the reality. In America, the Constitution protects freedom of religion. Having faith is not a disqualifier for leadership. In fact, for many people, it's a source of moral grounding. The key issue is whether leadership respects all service members regardless of their beliefs. And based on the response, the position being taken is that the department does allow for a wide range of faiths. But the hearing doesn't slow down. It moves into the strategic side of military operations, specifically actions taken in Iran. This is where things shift from internal leadership debates to global security concerns. Questions are raised about whether the stated objectives of the operation have actually been achieved. We hear claims that key targets, missile capabilities, nuclear ambitions, and broader strategic goals have not been fully met. That's a serious critique, because when you commit military force, results matter. The response from leadership is what you would expect in a setting like this: emphasizing effectiveness, highlighting damage to enemy capabilities, and pointing to long-term strategic gains. There's also the argument that certain details remain classified, which limits what can be publicly disclosed. And that's always the tension in these hearings. On one hand, Congress has a responsibility to oversee military actions. On the other hand, not everything can be discussed openly without compromising national security. But here's the bigger picture. What you're seeing in this hearing is not just a debate about one general or one operation. It's a debate about the direction of the military itself. Should it focus strictly on combat effectiveness and merit? Or should it also reflect broader social priorities? How much transparency should there be in military operations? And how do you balance accountability with national security? From a right-leaning, constitutional perspective, the priority is clear. The military must remain focused on its core mission: defending the nation. Leadership decisions should be based on competence, not identity. And while oversight is essential, it should not undermine the effectiveness of those carrying out critical operations. At the same time, accountability